and welcome to another game review here on the Silverbird Selection. Today I'm looking at a Silver Range game from 1988 as voted for by you guys in a previous video. It is Rainbow Dragon. Now this is a pretty rare game to find out there, usually quite expensive on eBay, but I actually got my copy as part of a bundle for £1.84, so that was nice. So let's take a look at Rainbow Dragon and see what it's like. Here's the front cover then, and as you'd expect from a game called Rainbow Dragon, it's very colourful. You can see the rainbow in the background, and there's the dragon breathing fire against a column which is broken. And here's the logo, which I've got to say is very poor. The rainbow reminds me of the kids' TV show Rainbow, and the dragon part of it is very intricately drawn, but almost impossible to read for that reason. So not very good, and that looks even worse on the spine with the rainbow and the dragon separated out. It just looks really poor. On the back cover we've got a couple of screenshots as always, both very similar looking, and the blurb about the game says a game of mystic spells, mysterious lands and magical dragons. Inside the inlay we've got the list of games available from the Firebird range with the various systems across the top, and the list of games along the side with a little star against each one for which system it's available for. I think we might have seen that before, but this does show that it's the later packaging, probably the last style of Silver Range packaging before they moved to being Silverbird instead. Inside though, that's a very familiar Silver Club in-crowd advert there. So let's move on to the instructions, which says Rainbow Dragon, copyright 1987 Duck Software. And it says there, in a land and time long forgotten there existed weird and wonderful creatures with powers unknown to us. One such creature was Asturias, a flying fire-breathing magical dragon. The end goes on to say that he's been trapped inside an old temple deep underground. He's got to find and destroy 10 magical chests and overcome problems and obstacles blocking his path. And then it's got the loading instructions and the gameplay instructions, got the controls, and the fact you press spacebar to switch between dragon movement and magical spells. Gives you details of the 4 different spells available, and also gives you some information about what the heads-up display shows, which is quite a bit of information. If you look on the back cover, it does quite detailed. Just quickly show that, but obviously we'll see that in the game as well. But you can see there lots of information on that top half of the screen. Here's the loading screen then, and I've got to say this is one of the nicest looking Commodore 64 loading screens I've seen, not just for this range of Firebird games but for any game. Really nicely drawn dragon on there, nice logo in the background, although it is slightly reminiscent of the logo for a Chinese takeaway. But yeah, that's really nice, and that was done by Matt Sneap, who did a number of Commodore 64 loading screens and graphics and indeed games, I believe. So yeah, really nice loading screen. Okay, so here's the title screen, which as you'd expect, got some very rainbow colours on the Rainbow Dragon logo there. It's also got a scrolling message, as is customary for the games of this era, which actually mentions the Firebird Silver Range there. It also gives you a couple of tips for early stages in the game, because it is quite a tricky game. There's some options at the top there. F1 just chooses a level, which is either 1 or 2. You can have music on or off, although the music isn't in game. It's only on the title screen, so I don't know why you switch it off. Joystick or keyboard, which obviously I'll be using joystick, and F7 to start. And just to mention, the music's a pretty nice SID tune, not sure who it's by. I'm sure somebody in the comments will mention it if they know. But yeah, pretty good tune. So let's get started on the game. So the game starts and your dragon materialises, and you can move him around with the joystick. You can also press fire to fire, and one of the things it suggests you do in the instructions is light these torches. There's one lit, but they don't stay lit for long. Now on the top half of the screen, which you get to by pressing space, there are a bunch of options, and not really options but things to do. So you've got to keep these pillars in a reasonable state of repair, and you repair them by pressing the magic wand against them. So I'll just do that here, to repair one, just to see. If you let any one of those break, then the game is over because the cavern that you're in collapses on you. There are also some options to do various things. You can, oh, that didn't even repair that then. You can read things with the scroll, you can interact with, you can look for illusions with the green up arrow thing there, you can open or interact with things with the blue one. The blue one with the arrow that pushes down, and I can't remember what the other one does, the pink diamond. I think that searches for magic or something like that. Let's just press that to find out. No magic. Yeah, so that one searches for magical items, I think. And on the left hand side of the screen you can see 4 things, 4 sort of bars. You've got T, which is for time remaining to get out of the caverns. You've got E, which is the dragon's energy, which is depleted by brushing up against the oh blimey, here we go again. Brushing up against the landscape. You've got C, which is the number of magical spells you can cast. That's gradually depleting as I'm repairing these pillars. And also M, which is the number of chests left to find. So when you find a chest, that bar goes down basically. So there's one here which I'll just press fire on just to show that that does go down. And the other thing it does is change the background colours, which is the rainbow of the Rainbow Dragon title. So you can see I've almost run out of magic. One thing I wanted to mention is though, magic is C, but number of chests is M, which seems a bit of a strange decision when you could have M for magic and C for chests, but there you go. Not sure why they did that. So you can see that these pillars keep deteriorating at a very fast rate, and repairing them uses up all your magical power, so you have to find things to replenish that, which I'm not going to manage to do now because I've almost run out. But I just wanted to show the sort of mechanisms in use in the game and the things you have to do. And what I'm then going to go do is play through it again, because I'm almost dead basically. So just one thing to show here, which I should manage to do before I run out of magic, is if I press the search for magic button here, it will say magic found. And now I've run out, so I can't do anything else. Might be able to hear that sort of squelching sound means I've run out of magic, which means when these pillars collapse this time I've got no chance to repair them. So the idea of the game is to navigate through the caverns, solve the puzzles, find the chests and escape. There we go, the pillars have collapsed and that will be game over, the end. So that was a short go through just to show the gameplay mechanisms, so that I don't need to talk about them while I'm trying to get a bit further in the game. I'll now restart the game again and try and get a bit further. Okay, so I've explained what you have to do. I'm now going to try and do it a bit faster. So I've played through this game a few times to solve a few of the puzzles. So the first thing you have to do is take the big dragon, and he is huge, nicely animated, quite impressively, so the graphics are nice. So yeah, you've got to take him up here first, grab that chest early on and light this torch, although I'm not really sure what the lighting the torches actually does. Quickly solve this puzzle here as well, which is just to interact with this pillar. You can see that pillar's just restored itself, little message showing in the screen there as well. And that then allows you to head over, didn't actually show it, but there's a force field that's now been opened. So you do get that beeping warning, ominous warning to tell you that one of the pillars is going to destroy itself fairly soon unless you fix it. So yeah, there was a force field here which you might have seen when I went past earlier. So I opened that. That allows me entry into the second part of the area. Oops, just brushed up against the landscape a little bit there. So I'll repair all those while I'm stood there. So this chest here, just do a quick magic check on that. Actually no, I'll just interact with it, which I think is this one here. Yeah, that's restored some of my magic. As you can see with the bar on the left is now been replenished somewhat, but not a lot. So I'm going to head over to the far side of the cavern. There's a sword thing there that, as I found out from previous playthroughs, you can't do anything with that at the moment. So I'm heading over to the far side of the map here. So you can see it's pretty frantic, even though movement through the cavern is fairly slow. because you're always having to fix these pillars, and it's quite annoying to have to do that. So back to the magic here, that pillar needs restoring, and what I'm going to do is use the read option to read this pillar, and it says there, find the illusion underneath these pillars. So I'm going to head down there to this area down here, back to the magic and search for illusions, which as I mentioned is this one with sort of up arrow on it, and that's revealed an illusion. But I've also got to repair a pillar while I'm here. So you can see there was an illusion there, and there was something actually obscured in the cavern, which I've now gone and interacted with, and that's opened up this force field here, which I don't think I showed you either, but there was a force field in this gap here. Yeah, another pillar to repair, and another one, and that one's going to go soon as well. So heading up to the top here, and there's another treasure chest to be opened. 500 points for that, and that's changed the colour of the background again. As I said, every time you open the chest the colours change, which is the rainbow aspect. Another pillar to repair. It's quite exhausting to describe all this, so I've got to head off and solve another puzzle, which I think is over this side of the cavern somewhere. This is about as far as I've got. So just to quickly mention, the graphics are pretty nice, nicely defined, although the fact they only take up half the screen is a bit of a downside to them. The pillars and stuff at the top are nicely drawn but don't really do a lot. So I think I've got to pick up this sword now, but first I've got to fix these columns again. So I'm not quite sure which of these things I have to do to interact with that. Nothing to restore. Magic found. Still nothing. So I'm picking it out, and I'm running out of magic again. Yeah, and now I've run out of magic. So I think the idea is you've got to pick this sword up and take it up to the top bit, which I'll show again while I've still got a bit of energy to move around. But the next time one of these pillars crumbles, it's game over and I'm not going to be playing again. So I think the idea is you've got to pick up the sword somehow and take it up and put it with this, which I think is supposed to be a shield or maybe a scabbard that you actually put it into. But yeah, I've run out of magic, so I'm done for basically. I've just got to wait until the pillars crumble. So sound, I haven't mentioned, but is fairly annoying within the game. You've got a few bleeping sounds when you interact with things, and otherwise it's just sort of swooping or swooshing of the dragon's wings. There we go, pillars crumbled, game over. I got 2070 points. So quite an annoying game. It's one of those games where you're going to have to work through the puzzles one at a time, work out how to solve them, but frequently you will end up dying and having to restart the game from the start, which is really annoying. What's particularly annoying is you get virtually no magic to it, and you need the magic to interact with the things to work out how to solve the puzzles, but it only gives you a tiny little amount of magic compared to all the other things on those bars on the left hand side, so that's really annoying. So there you go, I've shown you as much as I can of it. I'm not going to play through it again because, as I say, you have to start from the beginning and solve all those early puzzles over and over again. So instead I'm just going to go through the review scores. So firstly, the packaging was a bit average. I mean, the logo was awful on it, the picture was okay, the instructions were reasonable, but overall I wasn't that impressed with it, so I'm going to give that 6 out of 10. Presentation is pretty nice, very nice loading screen, excellent loading screen to be fair, and this title screen is pretty nice as well with some decent music, so I'm going to give presentation a 7. Graphics also a 7, nicely done, nice animation on the dragon. Otherwise the caves are fairly boring and repetitive, but the fact it changes colours each time you pick up a chest is quite nice, so I'm going to give that a 7 as well. Sound also nice in terms of the music on the title screen, although the in-game audio is fairly boring, so again I'm going to give it a 7. And finally, playability, well, it's pretty annoying really. The fact you don't get enough magic to be able to interact and investigate the puzzles, and basically once you've worked out what a puzzle is and how to solve it, you can go and do it again on your next playthrough, but having to basically do trial and error to solve a puzzle without enough magic to actually really investigate them is quite annoying. Movement around the caverns is fairly slow and cumbersome as well, and having to repair those columns constantly is just annoying. If you didn't have to do that, or if you didn't have to do that so often, it wouldn't be such a bad game, or if you had more magic so that you didn't have to waste it all by fixing the columns every 30 seconds, would make it fairly reasonable. But because of those aspects being quite annoying, I'm going to give it a playability score of 3, which gives it a total score of 6 out of 10, which is probably a bit generous, to be honest. It's a nicely presented game, but it's just not much fun. Very much like the last game, Special Agent, in that respect, I would say. Well, this time around I'm going to say it wasn't worth the $1.99 asking price, just because of how annoying it is to have to navigate through those caves over and over again. So there you go, that was my review of Rainbow Dragon. If you've got any thoughts about the game, then let me know those thoughts in the video comments. That's another game review in the bag then, and that means it's now time for me to pick 2 names of other games out of this tin for you guys to vote for, to choose for a future game video. So let's have a look what we get out of the tin this time. First up we have Denarius, and the second name out of the tin is Trojan Warrior. So let's just grab those 2 off the shelf. Denarius, you will need lightning reactions, gut determinations, nerves of steel and a good joystick to finish this game. And for Trojan Warrior it says, our hero the Trojan Warrior rides out on a winged stallion to rescue the princess. So there you go, those are the 2 options, Denarius or Trojan Warrior. Let me know in the video comments which of those games you'd like me to play, and I'll play it in a future video. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you again soon.